Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. 3.17 changed the way that Amulet mod pools work, so that a number of things that had previously been in the Hunter exclusive mod pool were moved into the global mod pool. And most importantly in this was the +1 to all of a particular class of skills mods, which were changed to generic Amulet prefixes, had their level requirement dropped to 75, but this tended to make it easier to get one of those mods, but harder to get two of them on the same item. You can no longer use an Awakened Orb to force two together. Well, you sort of can with Recombinators, the 3.18 exclusive currency that is doing a lot of crazy things. I have done extensive maths on the exact ways that you might consider making a Recombinator amulet, and I think I've got the optimal strategy here. So I want to go through that. I will also show a demonstration version of this, but I do think it's important to say there are some rare things that can happen with Recombinators, and the demonstration that I do at the end is actually one of those rare results where you get something quite different to what you were expecting. However, Recombinator secrets have mostly gotten cracked. Yesterday, a post went up on the Path of Exile subreddit that had full details on how Recombinators work. So that's about 32 hours old at the time I'm recording this video, and I'll put a link to that post in the video description, and there'll also be a link to my video covering this discussion yesterday with a bit of commentary on it. Now, this showed by a large sample size empirical testing that prefixes and suffixes are worked out independently. We're going to take a lot of advantage of this while we're planning our strategies for getting the best +2 amulet chances. Now, I picked up two +1 amulets as a case study. Now, I'm going to show you what these used to look like. One of them had an unfortunate accident involving an Orb of Annulment, but I did replace it with something basically similar. Both of them have two prefixes, and both of them have the same second prefix, or at least in the same mod group. So here's the two inputs that we were originally going to use before the fire spell skill gems had an accident. Black Gorget, which has the Exalter's prefix, +1 to the level of all spell skill gems, and has 46 to maximum energy shield as a prefix. The other two things are suffixes. Then we have Rift Beads, this Citrine amulet, which had +1 to the level of all fire spell skill gems, and also 33 to maximum energy shield as its only prefixes, and then it had two unwanted suffixes. While I was trying to annul off those suffixes, that was when, unfortunately, it lost the Volcanist mod that we wanted there. Rift Beads was something that was listed for an Exalted Orb for the entire league ever since I looted it, and it never sold. So it's clearly worth less than an Exalt, and I'd actually probably price this around 30 or 40 Chaos, having had a bit more of a look at the market now. Black Gorget, I paid 2.5 Exalts for, and I think that was a reasonable price. It's pretty hard to get items that have the Exalters mod on them that don't have much other garbage in the way of prefixes. The important thing here is that both of them have prefixes that are incompatible with each other. They can't be on the same item. So let's run the numbers on recombinating these items as they currently stand, and then also recombinating them after applying the same bench-crafted mod to each of them, which is a strategy a lot of people have been playing around with. So firstly, we should discuss our degrees of success and failure. We have 4 prefixes in the pool. We have Exalters, Volcanist, Resplendent, and Scintillating. The last two are mutually exclusive. A perfect result keeps Exalters, Volcanist, and Resplendent. A modest success keeps Exalters and Volcanist and loses both energy shield mods. Or alternately, another form of modest success keeps Exalters and Volcanist and also takes Scintillating. Scintillating is the weaker of the two ES mods, so we would rather keep the Resplendent one. A minor failure is an item that keeps Exalters and Resplendent, or a 1 prefix item that has Exalters. A moderate failure is Exalters and Scintillating, so we end up slightly worse than where we started and we've lost the fire one. And we have the potential for complete ruin if we lose the Exalters mod in any way, shape or form. Then we've basically ruined both input items. Or maybe we get one input item back, but it's the cheap one, it's the 30 Chaos one. We've lost the 2.5 Exalt inputs, so we're not very happy with that. So our first consideration, we have 4 prefixes in the pool. And according to Iron vs. Wild's research, this means we are 35% to get 3 mods, 55% to get 2 mods, and 10% to get exactly 1 mod. Now I'm going to change this to be out of 480 so the numbers are nicer. 168 out of 480 to get 3 mods, 264 to get 2 mods, and 48 to get 1 mod. It'll become clear why we're doing that later. It's just so everything's a whole number. If we get 3 mods, we can only get 1 energy shield mod. So 84 times we get the perfect outcome. That is, we get the Exalters and Resplendent and Volcanist. And 84 times we get Scintillating, Exalters, and Volcanist for the third best, or second best, or third best outcome. If we get 2 mods, there are 4 that could be picked first. We've got a 50% chance of getting an energy shield mod first, 50% to get a +1 mod first. If we get a +1 mod first, it's 1 in 3 to hit the other one at all with the second mod. Overall, it's 4 in 24 to get both +1s, 5 in 24 to get any combination of 1+1 mod and 1 energy shield mod. The reason there's a higher chance to get +1 with 1 energy shield mod comes from the times that an energy shield mod is picked first. This then bans another mod, which biases towards getting a +1 roll. This isn't the case if you pick a +1 mod first. So if we get 1 mod, it's 1 in 4 to be any specific one. So our table of probabilities is here, and I'll put a link to this down in the description below if you want to download it. But basically, the most important thing will come up a little bit later when we reconsider that we don't lose all that much as long as we keep the Exalters mod. We can make a second attempt really cheaply. So when we factor that in, when we don't hit a ruinous outcome, we've still got the expensive component, the Exalter amulet. We've lost the Recombinator, we've lost the Fire Skills amulet, but those are cheaply replaced. We will need to buy another Vulcanus amulet each time that we hit certain minor failure conditions. Now, if you keep repeating this until either ultimate success or ultimate failure, i.e. losing the Exalters mod, we're looking at 59.22% to win and 40.78% to lose. That's 106 to 73 odds that are in your favour. Or you can think of this as 179 Exalter amulets plus 179 Vulcanist amulets plus 252 Recombinators combine into 106 plus 2 amulets. Now obviously RNG is going to dominate that in small numbers, but these are the overall stats. And this is what happens when you have 2 inputs, one of which has Exalters +1 mod, and the other one which has Vulcanus and a mod that is incompatible with the other mod that's on the Exalter amulet. Whether that be a bench-crafted mod, whether that be something that is a permanently baked-on mod, doesn't really matter. So hopefully that makes the odds look a little bit better. Now we're going to consider a second option. What if we were to modify both items by applying the same bench-crafted prefix to both? Now without loss of generality, we're going to assume that we pick flat life. The main thing is that they're the same on each one. So this means that if the crafted mod is picked from the first item, it's going to ban the one from the second item. The reason we might consider doing this is that Iron's research indicates that if there are 3 prefixes on each of your input items, then you have a 70% chance to get a 3 prefix outcome, which is much higher than the chance to get a 3 prefix outcome if there's only 4 total input mods. So with this case, there is a pool of 6 mods, and therefore we've got a 70% chance to choose 3 mods, 30% chance to choose 2. The case where we pick 2 is easy. We have a 1 in 3 chance to hit a +1 with the first choice. So there are 6 mods in the pool, 2 of them are successes. And then, assuming we succeed with the first one, we have a 1 in 5 chance to hit a +1 with the second one. Overall, we're 1 in 15 to get +2, or 2% of overall Recombinator attempts. Keeping Exalters but not Vulcanus is 9% of overall Recombinators. Now, there's also cases where we lose both mods, and there's also cases where we keep Vulcanus but not Exalters. We're just going to call all of those ruinous failures. The numbers end up horrid here, so we're going to convert this to per 900 Recombinators. And here we have 18 wins, 81 minor failures where we've kept the Exalters mod, and 171 major failures where we have lost the Exalter mod. The 3 mod case though is ugly. When we pick 3, it's more complicated. Again, to keep the numbers nice, we're going to convert this to per 900 Recombinator attempts. We hit this case 630 times out of 900 Recombinator attempts. We're going to have to consider 2 possibilities. The first one is that the first mod chosen is not a +1. The second case is that the first pick is a +1. And one of these is more common than the other, as you can see from the numbers there. So let's go with the case where we get a non-+1 mod first. So this could be life, this could be energy shield. If it's life, it's going to be bench crafted. This comes up 14 out of 30 Recombinators, or 420 times per 900 Recombinators used. Again, we're keeping things out of 900 because it's going to keep everything to a whole number, and it's the smallest number that will let everything be a whole number at the end. It really doesn't matter whether you hit life first or energy shield first because both ban the same number of other mods. To get +1/+1 here requires runner perfect picks in this situation, and the first one is a 2 out of 4 pick, the second is 1 out of 3. So overall, this is going to be 1 in 6 or 2 in 12. And in other cases, we're guaranteed exactly 1+1. So we're 5 in 12 to keep the Exalters mod only, and 5 in 12 to lose it, which is a complete failure. So per 900 overall Recombinator attempts, we get into this situation 420 times. 70 of them lead to a +2 amulet. 175 lead to us keeping Exalters. 175 lead to us losing Exalters and having the complete ruin scenario. What about the case where we get a +1 mod first, which is going to happen at 210 times out of 900 attempts? Well, we get a +1 mod second, winner winner, 42 +2 amulets. If we get a different mod second, which is going to happen 4 times in 5, without loss of generality, we're going to assume it's energy shield. In this case, we got a second chance, and there's only 3 mods left in the pool. This is the other +1 and 2 life mods. So a 1 in 3 here, making for another 56 plus 2 amulets. The other 112 cases preserve 1 mod. 50% of the time this will be Exalters, woohoo. 50% are completely ruined because we end up with Volcanus, Life, and Energy Shield. So a table of probabilities is not very good. Our chance of getting a success is 20.67% per attempt. Our chance of a minor failure, where we keep Exalters and lose Volcanus, is 34.67%. Our chance of complete ruin of losing everything, losing the Exalter mod, is 44.67%. In short, this isn't fine. Do it the other way. Don't benchcraft anything. So in conclusion, the best chance for a +2 amulet comes from recombinating 2 prefix amulets. One of them has +1 to all skills and 1 other mod on it. The second one has +1 to a single element of skills and the same other mod. One or both of these other mods can be benchcrafts. Ideally, you want lower suffix counts if at all possible. Not necessarily as low as 0, but a combined 3 or less gives a better chance of having space for the uber and rare aura effect amulet suffix that is Recombinator exclusive. A combined mod pool of 2 or less is optimal here, although getting that may require some riskier nulls. Whether that's worth it or not is ultimately up to you. I think at current market prices, it's perfectly fine to take a risk with your +1 Fire Gems amulet to try and annul down all those extra mods, or whether, maybe it's +1 cold skills or +1 lightning skills in your case. It's fine to take a risk on that. Don't do any riskier nulls on the Exalter amulet though. In summary, trade for Exalter's amulets that have prefix count 2, suffix count 2, and the prefix is something that the crafting bench can mimic. So for example, maybe you get Resplendent or Scintillating for energy shield, and then your other amulet will have the crafting bench version of that mod. Trade for magic amulets that have +1 to the relevant skill group, ideally as the only mod. Regalis, potentially annul it down. If it's not failed, benchcraft a copy of the other mod that's on the Exalter's amulet. You want to make sure that you've only got 1 prefix plus the benchcrafted prefix here, but it's okay to have more suffixes. It's better not to have those suffixes, but it's not disastrous to have them. And then recombinate this for that sweet 106 +2 amulets per 179 Exalter amulets that you invest, and per 252 Recombinators. So now I'll show some footage of my very interesting result, because it was not what I expected. I ended up inputting a +1 all skills gems and a +1 fire skills gems, and I ended up getting +2 physical back. So there are some unusual results that happen that are not quite in the scope of Iron's testing. These are not all known yet, but that will be hopefully quite interesting. May your Valorbs and your Recombinators have interesting results. Okay, let's do the actual attempt here. We've got the Exalter's amulet, which is the one that we were discussing in the presentation before, and we have this slightly different turquoise amulet here. The reason for this is that the other amulet that we were originally going to use had an unfortunate accident involving an Orb of Annulment while I was trying to refine things slightly on it. So for that reason, I'm going to Jewelry Recombinator this. Left-hand side is going to be the Exalter's amulet. Right-hand side is going to be the Volcanus amulet. Recombine, and let's see if we get ruined or if we get something useful. We kept the Exalters, we kept physical. Wow, that was not expected. That's very much an unexpected result there. Anyways, I'm quite content with that. That's not what we were trying to get, but it's something, a new mod was added there, which is something that we knew Recombinators could do, but that was very much not what we expected.